friends, it's Lorinda here, and a lot of people wanted to see my garden, what's going on right now compared to what I did last year. Last year was the first year I started my garden, and it's come a long way, I think, since I started it from a big patch of dirt. So I'm going to take you through it so you can kind of see what I got going on this season. I'm going to start with the front yard because I threw in a few things in my planter, so I'll show you those first, and then I'll make my way around to the backyard. So hang on tight. So here's my front planter. Here's my house. It's a mess right now. It's my car. A lot of weeds everywhere, as you can see. I need to get picking weeds, but I have too much other shit to do. This is a poblano pepper I have growing, and this is a dragon tongue bush bean. I have a few of them in this planter, and they're kind of stunted because I almost killed them and I try to revive them. So they are bearing beans, but they're very small. You can see this is a dragon's tongue bush bean. You can kind of see the beans are almost the same height as the plant, but they're really cool. I mean, look at them. They have all these stripes on them. Super cool. And this was a freesia that was blooming beautifully, but it's done now for the season. So like, I wait all year for this plant to come up, and when it does, it's gorgeous and it smells amazing, but then it only lasts for a few weeks. And here's another dragon's tongue. So I might just pop some seeds into the dirt and have them start over, because they're not doing too good. I mean, they should be way bigger by now, but they are giving fruit, and they're pretty big. See? Kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna go now to the backyard and show you that. Oh, there's some impatiens, and I planted some nasturtiums up there. Hopefully they'll get bigger. I started those from seed too. So, and some flowers that are struggling, and an aloe vera plant, and junk that I need to clear up off my porch because my kids leave everything a mess. Believe it or not, I just picked up a pair of socks off the porch from one of my boys. Anyways, I went to the backyard. Okay, I'm gonna have a little pit stop right here. This is my compost trash cans. This is where I do my composting. See? That used to be vegetable scraps and lawn clippings and stuff. It doesn't get very hot, so it composts very slowly. But it works. Last year I had a whole trash can full of it, and it went a long way. I just got a regular trash can, drilled some holes in it, and I just did all my scraps in there. So, on to the rest of the garden. Hi, Daisy! Say hi! It's a mess, but what garden isn't when you're in the midst of it? This is my new fancy pants watering system. I just installed this last week, I think. I start with a pressure regulator, and then a water filter to filter out the chlorine, because believe it or not, chlorine that is in our regular everyday water kills the good bacteria in the soil. So you want to make sure that you have a water filter on your hose so all the good bacteria doesn't get killed, because that's what helps your plants, helps fight disease, helps fight infestation. So you always want to make sure you have one of those. And this is just an RV water filter, but it has the same hookups for your hose. So we have the same one on our RV. Now this is a Melnor aqua timer. It has 4 outlets, so each one has its own time, and it's so easy to set up, and it's super cool. And each zone, can run as many times as you want for as long as you want. And I've never dealt with a timer before that was so easy to set up. You just kind of go through the channels. They have a little display for every item, and you just scroll up and down and left and right. That's it. So really easy. And so I have one for a regular water hose. I have one for a drip hose, and then one for a drip irrigation system that I just installed. And the empty one right there is going to be another drip hose that's going to go to a bed on the other side over there, but I haven't installed that yet. So these are some grow bags that I bought this year. I thought I would try it because I ran out of space and I want to grow more things, so I thought I would try in these felt grow bags, and they're pretty cheap, and you know, they last for a few seasons, but because they're so cheap, to me it was worth it still to grab them, see how they do this year. So I have a pepper here and a tomato here, and I have some cantaloupe there, but I don't know, they're doing too good over here. These ones kind of have spotted leaves, and this one I started a little later than that one. I had a bad thing happen this year. See these little greenhouses right here? I had all my plants under grow lights and they did amazing, and then I came back from Hawaii and I put them in the little greenhouse, and in one day they all died. It got too hot in there, so then I had to start over. I was able to revive some of them, like the peppers and these tomatoes here, but they're not doing too good, so I might just rip them out because the ones I planted ingrown are doing much better. So we'll see. Now I know. We're in California. We don't need to keep things in greenhouses. You know, that's usually if it's really cold. But I have a bunch of gardening stuff, soil, more soil. Now I use these little greenhouses just to store my gardening crap. But this is a ground cherry that's growing very slowly. This is one of the ones I almost killed that came back, so it's not doing too good. These are doing good. This pepper here I planted last year, January of 2017, and this year I got a bunch of jalapenos off of it. I didn't get nothing last year. And I just have it in a big galvanized tub with a grow oya in the middle, which is a terracotta pot that holds water. And these are two plants I did start from seed. These are mystery hot peppers because I don't know what they are. I forgot to label them early on, so I guess we'll find out. And these peppers I grew from seed. This one I bought from Home Depot, and as you can see it's a little bigger and doing better. That's a red Russian kale. That's not doing too good either. I don't know if it's the pots or if they were bad plants, so time will tell. These are peppers that I bought from Home Depot. Home Depot actually has a good variety of organic plants, much more than last year, much better variety than last year, so I was really impressed. So I picked up some pepper plants that are doing really well. If you can see, they're getting little peppers on them already right there, so I'm really excited because we eat a lot of bell peppers in this house. And I have some more here. So next year I'm not even going to bother with starting pepper plants because they take so long, and you know, they struggle in my garden, especially with the heat, so I'd rather buy them a little more established from Home Depot. And since Home Depot sells organic, I might as well, because that's all I have here is nothing but organic seeds, organic soil, everything. Now these are my summer dance cucumbers. These came a long way, and just in the last couple of weeks they've just doubled in size. I have them growing in some galvanized Christmas tree collars that I found on clearance at Michael's for $4. They normally went for $80, and they're hollow on the bottom, so it's like a ring. And I just put them on top of the ground and filled it with soil, and this is the second season I'm using them, and they still look fine, and they're holding up great. Such a bargain. I just flipped it upside down, because normally you would put your artificial Christmas tree in it to hide the base, but I just flipped it upside down and I'm growing in it, thinking outside the box. And I try to DIY and the cheap. I try to look for anything reusable I can and try to grab anything on clearance that I can. So these cucumbers are doing great. I got these seeds from Vessie's seed catalog. Look at this. Look at that big old cucumber. I've already harvested 2 off of there. Isn't that cool? And I have a bunch of other cucumbers all over. There's another one right there. Hello. Let's see what's going on in here. That's the date that I planted them from seed, 3/22, and the date I put them in the garden, 4/4. So yeah, these are doing really good and they taste amazing. They really do. Okay, and this is a flower bed that I use these planter blocks from Home Depot, and you just slide in the wood. And those are some grow oyas there that I pulled out of a place where I did put drip irrigation in, so now I could put those somewhere else. And this is the drip irrigation system I just put in, so everything gets watered, the black tubing, which is pretty cool because it takes about 30 to 45 minutes to water by hand, and I would do that every morning, and it just takes so long. This is a pomegranate tree that my husband almost killed 3 years ago. I told him to prune it, and he completely chopped it down almost to the ground, and I haven't had any fruit on it for 3 years, but it did come back. And this is the first year after 3 years that I have some fruit on it coming, so I'm super excited because they are the sweetest pomegranates I've ever had. I have one there, and there's maybe another 10 total in the whole tree, but this thing used to produce hundreds of pomegranates every year, but it attracts also the mice, so we try to trim it back, and my husband went a little crazy, but we're getting some this year, so that's great. These are ground cherries, which is like, from what I heard, a cross between a pineapple and a tomato. It tastes like pineapple, but it has a consistency of like a cherry tomato. But they grow like tomatillos. You can see they're like in little husks right there. See, they're like growing little husks. So I have 2 of them here, and these 2 are going great. These have doubled in size within the last week or so, and they get about 4 feet wide spread, so hopefully they don't overtake this area too much. So we'll find out, but I can't wait to taste those. This is a brandywine tomato. This one's doing really good, and I have this on it's going to be clipped to the trellis as it gets bigger, but that one's looking really, really healthy, and I have some flowers on it. I'm super excited. And these are some daisies. I kind of pruned it a little bit, so I have 1 daisy on it right there, but it's coming back. This is the fountain I got for my birthday, but I think it's out of water, so I need to put more water in it. And these nasturtiums I started from seed last year, 2017, January, and they're getting really big. And they go crazy and they go wild. If you don't keep this plant on check, it'll take over everything. And I have all my tomatoes growing up against my wall this year. Last year I had melons here, and I had such heavy clay soil, and it was bad soil and bad drainage. I didn't get a lot of fruit, but I really tried to have amend it over the last year, and hopefully things do well. And so far everything's doing great here. These are a German Johnson tomato. That's doing good. This is a Constelluto Florentino tomato. This one is a black Krim tomato. This is Owlie. Say hello. That's a San Marzano tomato. That's a rooster that reminds me of my dad because his nickname was Rooster. This is, I think, some sort of lavender plant. It smells amazing, and it attracts butterflies like crazy. It was really tiny, and just in the last few weeks it just exploded, but I planted this last year, and it was barely one leaf a whole year last year, and now it's really gotten big. This is an indigo rose tomato. I planted these last year. They were really good. They're like a black plum tomato. Really cool. And I don't know what this one is. I didn't label that tomato, so I guess we'll find out. It'll be a surprise. And these are radishes that I planted up along there. Hi, Daisy. Say hello. Let's see if we can get closer into the radishes here. Oh yeah, look at all them in there. Super cool, huh? Actually, let me just pull one out right here. Oh yeah. We'll stick that back down there. But I don't really eat a whole lot of radishes. I never really eaten them until I started growing them, and they're not bad. I actually just like put them in soups, and anything I cook I just throw them with everything, and the kids eat them. They don't even know what the hell they're eating. They eat them. They're not bad. These are cucamelons. that I will grow up this trellis. Hummingbird feeder. And there's some more cucamelons there. And that's a tomatillo plant, a little one there. And this is a big tomatillo plant right here. This tomatillo plant, you need 2 tomatillo plants. You can't just have one because they have to cross-pollinate each other. So if you can find 2 different varieties, even better. I just planted the same variety. So this is a purple tomatillo plant. I'll get purple tomatillos off of it and have another little tomatillo plant over there. I have tomatillos growing already. See right there? Tomatillo. So I have a lot of flowers in bloom, so hopefully I can make some salsa. And these are my onions. And that is a purple basil plant that is flowering right now. I usually let my basil plants flower because it attracts the bees. The bees love the flowers on the basil plants. They just love them. And these are just, I don't even know what kind of onions they are. I think they're like yellow onions. But I did plant some shallots over here. The thinner, skinnier, chive-looking things are shallots. And the rest are onions. And I have an onion flower ready to bloom right here. They usually when your onion flowers are ready to bloom, you have to eat them right away because they won't last as long as if you pulled them before they bloomed. But the blooms attract the pollinators. There's like a little bug right there. So I'm just going to let that one bloom. And I just picked up this cantaloupe plant. It's a bigger cantaloupe. I picked it up at Home Depot because my other cantaloupe plant I started from seed was not doing very well. And this is a little plant I just planted in a teapot that I found at the Goodwill. And I put some beads on it so it looks like it's pouring water. And this is a yellow determinate plant. This will produce all its fruit at once. It won't vine like the other tomato plants and produce all season. This one will produce all its fruit at once and then die. So I don't want to pluck off any suckers or anything because I want as much fruit as I can. But the tomatoes in this plant are bright yellow, so can't wait to see those. And this is my other basil plant with bees all over it. I don't know if you can see the bees buzzing around it. Let's see if I can get a close-up on a bee. Hello, bee. Do your thing, bee. And this thing gets a little crazy if you don't keep it in check either, but I don't mind because the bigger it is, the more bees you get. So I just try to, I do need to prune it a little bit. And this plant, I planted last year, 2017. This is a Hungarian hot pepper. I got lots of peppers on it so far this year. Last year I got nothing. But I'm in zone 10B, so we are a frost-free growing zone here. So everything overwinters, nothing dies off because of frost. So we can garden all year round, which is pretty cool. So this is doing really well compared to last year. Last year it looked like that. These 3 are pepperoncinis. So I'm hoping by next year, 2019, it'll look more like that. So we will see. And this is a Pattypan squash. This is one of the ones I did start over. I had a grub problem that were eating the roots of my plants, so I had to start over, but it's now just starting to produce a little bit of flowers. So hopefully it gets big. We'll see. I was frustrated with that one, so I popped a couple of seeds in this pot. And I'm planting them in pots, terracotta pots, because like I said, I had a grub problem, so I'm hoping it would keep it from eating the roots. And there is a big hole at the bottom of the pot, but I plugged it up with mesh so the grubs can't crawl in. So hopefully that'll do the trick this year, and this will get nice and big and give me lots of zucchini, which is a Pattypan squash. It's like a white UFO looking type of squash. It's really cool. Never had it before, but I thought I would try it. And these are Roma tomatoes from last year. This is a volunteer plant. It came up on its own early in the season, and I just let it go. And I have lots of tomatoes on it already. I can't wait till they all turn red. The Roma tomatoes are my favorite for salsas because they're not as watery and makes a really good salsa. And this is an unbelievable producer. It produced so much last year. So when a volunteer plant came up on its own, I was hoping it would be a Roma, and it was. So I just kind of left it. And this little teepee type of trellis thing I have going on here for the tomato is a flower stand. My dad and my sister both passed away last 2017, and so I saved all the stands from their flower arrangements, and I'm using them in the garden, which is better than them going into a landfill. So I have a lot of these teepee type of things because they got so many flowers. So I guess it's kind of their way of giving back too. It makes me think of them when I see it, which is kind of cool. And this is another little greenhouse thingy that I just store my gardening stuff in. I might take one of these little gardening shed things out because I don't need to really. And this is my little gardening bucket with all my tools. Have my gloves in there, and it's pretty cool. You can get these at Home Depot. They just go right into the buckets from Home Depot. And I just put all my tools in there, and I carry it with me when I do my gardening. And in this little bed here, I had some beets that I pulled out, except for one because it wasn't ready. But the other two plants are Italian striped zucchini that I'm gonna trellis up the trellis there and clip it on as it gets bigger. So I have no flowers yet, but they're getting really close. I see some buds forming right in there, so I'm excited because we eat a lot of zucchini, and I can make zoodles, and I like to grill zucchini. And if you have a zucchini that you forgot about or you missed that got way too big, because sometimes these zucchini get as big as your arm, but then they get a little tougher. If you do find one like that on your vine, those are best for grilling because they hold up really well on the grill. They don't fall apart as fast as if you cooked a really tender one. So when I find a big zucchini that I had forgotten about, I'll grill it on the barbecue. And that's pretty much it, really. It's my garden. I have a lemon tree back there that was here when I bought the house. It's tiny. We eat the lemons, but it produces so much. A lot of them just go to waste. So, and I'm so busy, I always forget to come out and pick them off. I should just pick them off and take them to work or put them for the neighbors. And this is Gary. Say hi, Gary. Meow. This is a sun I found at the yard sale, but I just threw it on the wall. And this is a hot mess over here that I will do something with this bed next year. I just don't have the time or the funds to do anything with it this year. But I think I'm gonna go one more level high and buy some soil and fill it in and start flowers over here because I don't have much flowers in my garden. And that's a whole other disaster over there, so I ain't even gonna worry about that. Hi, Daisy. So yeah, I'm gonna put some little flowers though in those hanging baskets, which I haven't yet. But I've been getting a lot of butterflies, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I find things on clearance. I found these trellises on clearance for $2.50 at Home Depot last year, and I bought every one they had because normally they go for $15 each, and I got them for $2.50. So that's pretty cool. So that's my garden. I got a lot growing in not a very big space. My garden is not very big at all, but I try to grow everything vertically, as you can see, to maximize the space. So that's my garden. Talk to you later.